Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Obsidian. I'm your local shadow work cryptid, and this is Black Dragon Alchemy. I created this cozy corner cave on YouTube so that we can dive into the unknown, dance in the void of our subconscious, and initiate the soul into alchemizing our own rebirth through our own conscious healing. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. I did want to tap into some collective energy today. I had my own idea of what kind of reading I wanted to do, but when I sat down, I did my meditation and I was getting ready for this reading, I gotta say the energy kind of shifted and I got guided to just let this go wherever it wanted to go. My past two readings, we were tapping into an energy that was, in a nutshell, wanting to break free of traditional structures and chains, basically. It was an energy of somebody who was wanting to break away from common standards, traditional molds of everything, every way of living that you can think of, basically. From how you make money to how you live your life to how you perceive the structure of reality, basically. I did two readings, one kind of following up to a energy from the first one. And I wanted to take a different direction today, but I think we're actually still tapping into that thread, if I'm honest. So I'm just going to roll with it. We're going to see what the cards have to say. I feel like I should preface this reading by just saying when I was getting my coffee this morning, I looked out my kitchen window and going right across my lawn was this black garden snake. Now, garden snakes are harmless, of course, but this one was large, about 3 feet long. It comes every once in a while, but with the turn of energy that I was feeling, it kind of felt significant. And then right after that, I had a murder of crows. So someone is going through something that is deeply transformational. This may even feel like some sort of identity crisis. This could be some sort of in-between stage. You're not quite stepping into a new energy that you are embodying, but you haven't quite shed the skin of your old one either. It's this very liminal kind of feeling, but I also feel some sort of there's like this underlying sense of irritation or anger, but it's like this anger has driven someone to spark change, which is good, which is exactly how you should use your anger. You should never internalize it and let it fester and repress it. You should always try to channel it as soon as you can ground yourself. We are human. Sometimes it takes a while for us to ground ourselves, but as soon as you can, it's good to channel that energy into something productive, something proactive for yourself. Even if it's diving deeper into the cause of the discomfort or the cause of the disruption. My candle is going crazy right now. I have a candle that I always use for my guides to kind of talk to me and reaffirm things through me. I go a lot off of the fire element, so that it's going crazy right now. The flame is huge. It keeps flickering. So somebody is definitely going through something, I want to say groundbreaking. It's almost like you feel like this crevice is just cracking inside of you, but there's something down at the depths of that crevice that you either didn't know was there or you knew was there, you chose to repress. Maybe this was something that you chose to, I don't want to say ignore, but maybe you just chose to not pay it any attention. But now that everything seems to be shifting and you seem to maybe be facing some sort of hard time or a betrayal or a hurt or something that just made you angry, It's like you're channeling that into breaking free of the person that you used to be and whatever it was that got you there, whatever structure or system or way of thinking had got you there, you are breaking away from all of it. And you might be misunderstood from people you surround yourself with, be it family or friends or coworkers or whatever, or you just feel like maybe you're me. I want to say someone's like, "Am I going crazy?" Like, no, you're not going crazy. That's usually the first question everybody asks themselves when they start to change is, "Am I going crazy?" No, you are actually meeting yourself, and this is what it's like to meet yourself, especially the parts I call them soul fragments that you either repressed or you forgot about. You know, these are just pieces of you that are lost in your subconscious that do hold wisdom, so much wisdom and so much value. But the thing is to attain that wisdom, that knowledge, that sacredness that they hold, all those lessons, that even just one simple piece of you, and it's usually something from your childhood, they can share so much knowledge as long as you're just willing to open up to it. And I feel like that's kind of the direction in which this reading wants to go today. I think we're just going a level deeper into where we left off on the last one. Like I said, I was intending on doing a different reading, but the energy wants to keep going, so I'm just going to follow the thread. I wasn't going to really dive much into the few cards that I have already pulled, but I feel like maybe somebody needs to hear because maybe this resonates for somebody. I pulled a couple archetype cards from the Obsidian Veil Shadow Oracle deck. I'll link all these decks below for anybody that's interested. But the first one that I picked was of Morgana. Now, this is a very interesting energy. Morgana was known as a sorceress, a witch, whatever, however you want to label her. She comes from the Arthurian tales. She is depicted as King Arthur's half-sister, and she was known for her powers of sorcery. Her use of magic eventually set her apart from the rest of the court, which led to suspicion and fear from her family, who viewed her magic as unnatural, dangerous, and evil. This kind of taps into that black sheep energy that I was talking about in my last reading. If you didn't listen to it, maybe there's something of value in it if you want to go back and listen to that. So eventually, her family stripped her of any titles, any privileges, and recognition that she had within the kingdom. She was left with nothing. Fueled by her betrayals and her grievances, her quest for revenge consumed her. Driven by a desire to overthrow King Arthur's rule and establish her own power. So again, she's breaking away from a certain structure just for being different, for being tapped in, for not following the norm and falling in line. She embodies the potent energy of revenge and the desire for retribution. It reminds us that revenge is a powerful force that can be both empowering and consuming. So again, going into that channeling anger, channeling all of that deep resentful energy and turning it into something beneficial for yourself. So tread carefully when you're in the realm of revenge because it can be a double-edged sword. It can be capable of bringing temporary satisfaction, but it can also perpetuate a cycle of negativity and suffering. Be very wise in how you choose to approach this, whatever it is. Be mindful of the energy that you invest in seeking revenge and consider redirecting that energy towards personal growth, again, inner peace, and creating a positive change for yourself. So remember that true healing and growth often comes from finding forgiveness and rising above the desire for revenge, be it from any kind of channel or experience or interaction. Now, as a shadow energy, now this is funny since we're on the topic of witches. I don't know if maybe somebody is getting into paganism or witchcraft, or Hecate is actually coming through pretty strongly. I've got a lot of key symbolism, a lot of witch symbolism going on here. There's black snakes, there's crows, there's a lot of symbolism. So I don't know if somebody is working with Hecate currently. She has come into my life, and I mean, when she comes in with a force. So be wary if you are working with her, especially if you're working with her for the first time. She could also be helping you guide this and navigate through these, you know, difficult paths, this transition. She is the goddess of magic, right? She is the keeper of the crossroads. So if you are at a point where you don't know what to do and you are trying to work with Hecate, just be warned. If you're asking her to help you change, you better be ready for it. But this particular card that I pulled as like a shadow energy was actually Bridget Bishop. So, I mean, her card, let's just start out with what her card says. A flame amidst the shadows, I defy convention and dare to be myself. So, again, breaking away from social constructs, family constructs, your typical constructs and structures that have held the whole social sphere up for decades, dare I say hundreds of years. So she is the unyielding spirit. And if you aren't familiar with her, she goes back to the Salem witch trials. She was a very prominent figure in Salem. She got accused of witchcraft, but she did engage in activities considered to be unconventional for women of her time. She did things like owned a tavern, she dressed in vibrant clothing. Sometimes she dressed in not women's clothing. You know, it used to be not okay to wear pants as a woman. She displayed a sense of confidence and individuality that challenged societal norms. So she was very secure within herself. She knew who she was. But in 1692, she was accused of bewitching individuals and causing them harm. She was accused of engaging in various occult practices. So, I mean, despite maintaining her innocence, she was found guilty and then she was hung. And her execution marked one of the tragic and unjust events of the Salem witch trials. Her name is sort of a staple name as far as the Salem witch trials goes. So she's an interesting figure to look into if you're trying to see a pattern in society, for sure. Her story reminds us of the power in staying true to yourself and embracing your unique identity. It's a reminder that your true power lies in being genuine and authentic in all aspects of your life. You may be encountering challenges or facing opposition in your life. It's a call to stand strong, draw upon your inner strength, and confront societal expectations and criticism. So embrace your individuality. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be ashamed of your quirks either. Know that your authentic self is a source of incredible power and magnetism. Now, this this is so interesting. Now, wherever you are on this journey of liberating yourself and walking to the beat of your own drum, and I mean, creating a life that you always wanted, maybe following a dream or a wish that you always wanted, but maybe you were always told wouldn't go anywhere, wouldn't get off the ground, it wasn't grounded in reality, quote unquote. But now we live in a time where people make their living off of doing pretty much anything. Technology, the internet, social media has really created so much opportunity for people to connect with each other in places and parts of the world that we never would have been able to without having to actually go there. So, whatever it is that you're doing, this could be something that, you could be transitioning into a new job or moving to a new place and acclimating to a new way of living, right? You're creating a new type of life for yourself. You're liberating yourself from something. So, whatever it was that you are separating from, it's almost like you're realizing that I mean, you didn't mean to be, because this was just what we were all taught. This is how it was to live. And so we got codependent on a system that is failing us, essentially. We're outgrowing a system right now, whatever that looks like for you on an individual scale or for work, family, whatever it is, you're outgrowing something. And it's time to liberate yourself from anything toxic or toxic people who might have been soft and seductive in life, but now it's like it's smothering you. It was once beautiful and enticing. And my liberation card right here, which is number 13, by the way, um, there is a swan. So I don't know if swan symbolism is relevant for someone, but it's like the skeleton of a swan that's suffocating a girl. So this is something that was once beautiful and attractive to you, but is no longer that. It's holding you back. And maybe now you're getting angry at that because you may have devoted so much time and effort and energy into this, but now you're seeing that things need to change. Foxes could also be relevant for somebody. This, like, you're changing your you're shape shifting into something different, something authentic. It's time to unwind yourself from the things that were once restraining you, be they those of lovers or family members or people with very close, intimate access to you. Recognize who is lifting you and who's pulling you down. Again, this could be that of a job or a learning environment. It's time to move on when this card appears. In a situation, should it be codependency, remember that you are holding each other back. So, although you may feel that you owe it to one another to stay and continue, this reminds you that it's not only you who is being held back, it's the other person too. So, it takes, and that might be hard for some people to actually digest, that you are keeping each other stuck. If this is, say, a relationship or some sort of relationship, be it a friendship or somebody that you work with, a partner of sorts, it gets to a point where you have to understand that you are holding each other back. It's almost like usually it's one person recognizes it first and then brings that thought to the table, and the other person is fighting it. They don't want to believe it. They're resisting that thought or that accusation. It depends on how hurt somebody is. It depends on how much somebody might be clinging to their pain. And we all heal at different rates. And I would never point the finger and say, you're playing a victim, but it gets to a point, and we all get to that point in our own healing journey where we realize, and it's a hard pill to swallow, that we were our own victim. We were the victim of our own circumstances. And sometimes you have to just be an adult, really, and pull yourself to that other person and say, hey, this isn't the way I want to be loved for the rest of my life, or I can't provide you with this right now. But you know, it would be great if we could just normalize saying things like, I don't want to have a relationship like this. And then really sit down and discuss why without feeling like you are being attacked in any kind of way or judged, right? And if you can do that, And if your partner or your friend or this other person can also reciprocate that same energy, well, that, despite the fact that it didn't work out, you can walk away and there is no grudges. But you have to know when to walk away, and you have to know when to let that other person or that other situation or environment go. If nothing else, for your own good. Forgive you and yourself, and maybe even forgive the other person for yourself, maybe not so much for them. I would never advise somebody to gaslight themselves into forgiving somebody when they really truly don't feel like they deserve forgiveness. You take the time that you need, you take the space that you need, but it's a thought to chew on. And it takes a while for it to really sit and settle because, like I said, that anger can get in the way of it. But when you can peel through that and really see underneath what is going on and the lesson that is trying to be brought to you. I mean, I could go on a whole other tangent on soul contracts and karmic contracts and how before this incarnation, we all decide that the people in our lives, and it's usually the people that end up hurting us the most, are actually some of the strongest soulmates that we have. And you more than likely made a contract with that soul before coming into this life to say, okay, now I'm going to do something that's going to really hurt you, and you're going to feel betrayed on so many different levels. You're going to feel wronged and hurt on so many kinds of levels. But in a higher perspective, it's all done in love. Nothing is done out of spite or vengeance or betrayal. Everything that we do 5D and above is done out of love and for the benefit of the whole through the individual. So when we come to Earth and we go through the veil of forgetting, we don't remember that we made this deal with that soul, that they're going to hurt us, and we don't know what that looks like. The deal was just that this is going to happen. It didn't say how. There was no detailed specifications of how this was going to happen. It's just going to happen. And that happens for family dynamics, relationships, friendships. It happens for everything. Even pets that we incarnate with can be soulmates. They come here for purposes too. They find us for purposes too. And the fox is popping out at me. I don't know if somebody works with foxes or has a pet fox or works at a fox rescue, but it's when we come into these situations in this realm, in the 3D, and we come into these situations, and then everything ends up exploding. The tower moment hits, everything blows up in our face. The fight happens, or, you know, the family divides because somebody died, right? And now everybody's at each other's throats. Whatever this is, just know that it was already a part of your plan and it was supposed to happen. But it's how you choose to channel it and make it work for you in this life that is ultimately going to be what determines your next outcome. Now, lessons can keep repeating if you don't get it the first time. It's not like there's punishment for it or anything. If you don't get it, it's just going to keep happening. It's just going to happen through different people. So, what you have and what you're seeking, this strength to pull yourself up and use all of your shadow, all of the things that you have kept repressed for probably most of your life. If you can shake hands with that and alchemize it and start to make it work for you, like I was saying, forgive the person, not for them, but so that you can move on. So you can drop the weight of feeling like you need revenge and feeling bitter and feeling vengeful. And we don't want to feel like that. That's not, we want higher vibrations. Because if we're trying to move out of that, hanging on to it, like I said before, is like hanging onto a hot coal. You're only burning yourself. You're only hurting yourself by hanging on to all of this hurt and this grief and this heartache. But fortunately, with Bridget Bishop over here, the one who is breaking social standards and social norms, we do also have the witch card. So, like I said, the magic that you seek is already inside of you. You just have to give it a place to flow out of. You have hidden potential. You have sharp insight inside of you. There is endless opportunities. You just have to have the right key to open the door. It's a key of understanding, a key of accepting yourself. It's a humbleness that you like. It's almost like you just have to get on your knees in front of all of your hurt and all of your grief, and you just have to let it go and flow and feel it. Because ultimately, I subscribe a lot to Carl Jung's work. I love Carl Jung. It's something that has deeply resonated with me. And through my own experience, I can say firsthand his interpretation of the subconscious and how he has structured all of that is, as far as I'm concerned, 100% accurate. It's exactly what I saw, but I saw it before I was even into his work. That's what made me get into it, essentially, because I thought I was just having a unique experience, and it surely was not. So what I took away from that was you do have to, it's almost like it's a groveling energy, but it's to your own hurt. It's to your own pain because all it wants is acknowledgement, and then it can integrate, and then you can learn and you can grow from it. So when you pull this witch card here, it's actually a very lucky card because it appears at a time in your life when key events and situations are actually turning in your favor. And it's really funny that I got the key card with it too, because that just it would make sense. So, have you taken all available steps and made all authentic efforts to be prepared for what it is you're looking for? In this card, the witch is holding her hands over a crescent moon, which a crescent moon is a potent symbol of new opportunities and fresh potential. And her fingers are cupping over the moon. So it's allowing energy to flow unhindered. And then there's a raven that sits on a branch in one of the trees. And it's pausing in its journey from like the underworld, and it's considering where to go next. There's also leaves of gold on the branches, and those signify comfort and beauty after periods of abstinence or loss. This can also be you alchemizing things that may have felt dead, right? Parts of you that may have felt dead. Nothing is ever dead inside of you. It's like saying we have junk DNA. Absolutely not. The witch knows herself and she's not afraid of her own potential and the opportunities presented to her to grow and learn. So in the moonlight here, she willingly steps to the edge of the cliff and she leaps. She takes that leap of faith and she knows that the natural way of the world will catch her and you're going to land right where you should. But the thing is to stop resisting everything that you are trying to avoid, any feelings, any emotions. You know, if you need to say something to someone, something that I personally like to do, especially if you're trying not to talk to the person or you can't, is to write it down and then burn it. For me, that works every time. Sometimes I have to do it a few times to really feel that weight lift because you're not done saying whatever it is you need to say. So you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you keep doing it. Fire is a powerful element to work with. I love working with fire. It's fast, it's immediate, it's final. So I hope that this message reached whoever it needed to reach. I think I'm going to do a part 2 to this because the energy doesn't quite feel done. I barely pulled any cards. I feel like I mostly just needed to channel some messages for somebody. So I hope this message found you. Thank you for coming today and listening to this reading. I am truly grateful. And I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend. And I will catch you here on the next reading.